Well, as you were saying, Bob, political parties do go on forever, and so do social parties such as this one. That's because people are gregarious. They like to mix.
Larry, the trouble with so many parties these days is that the hostess plans the party without giving any thought to the preferences of her guests. Now, this one is well planned. I knew it as soon as I saw our lovely Betty here.
Oh, thank you, Bob. You know, the president must have been thinking of you when he said the age of chivalry is still with us. For that, you may bring me a glass of punch. And while you're gone, I'm going to flirt outrageously with Larry here.
You're a conspirator, Betty. I'll be right back.
I'll be right here, Bob, talking politics or perhaps love.
Let's make it love, Larry. Politics have their place, but not when one lady is squired by two such handsome specimens as you and Bob.
This is Ray again. While Bob is down the other end of the room for punch, allow me to point out a few highlights to you. You will note that the lady has a way with her, a conversational way, and just the right dash of challenge mixed in to keep the interest of both gentlemen, and the boys play along with her. That is the mark of good conversation, or at least one type of good conversation, because it expresses a distinct personality. Conversation can be as stiff as a gray cement wall, or it can be as flowing as a gently gurgling brook winding down a sun-speckled field. It depends on you, your alertness in seizing on cues from your conversational partner and making the most of them. A good conversationalist is like a good tennis player. He must keep the ball bouncing, sometimes high, sometimes low, sometimes slow, sometimes fast, with a sly slice slipped in here and there, but always bouncing, ping, back and forth across the net. If the ball drops or goes out of bounds, that's all right. Just recover it gracefully and resume the game. A little pause is always acceptable. You can learn all this by observing how your friends here do just that. Of course, you must have the equipment, choice words and phrases and ideas. They are all here. Now, let's get back to the party.
Well, here's Bob, prompt with the punches. Thank you, Bob. And with pieces of pineapple in them, no less. My favorite temptation. Mrs. Barlow is a smart hostess. Which reminds me, you know, I go fishing down at the shore every summer. I always bring along something to tempt the fish. Worms. For some strange reason, fish prefer worms. So I give them what they prefer. And they bite. Hostesses should do the same at parties.
Yes, but some strong-willed social despots make us play anagrams and word games and even musical chairs at this age of trips to the moon. Or they show movies of their grandchildren when attending Bluebell Nursery School, or their own trip to Cohockus Junction in 1939. Or they talk about ancient Egyptian obelisks, and they make everybody listen.
Now, this is the heartiest party I've been to in a long while. I've been looking for a girl like Betty who hates word games and highbrows and loves, What do you love, Betty?
Well, I love parties, and I love good talk, but I detest pomposity or pretense. The other night I went to a party at Beachview. Our hostess served us beer and sausages at 11. The beer was good and the sausages were delicious. But the guests, they were all highbrows. The man in front of the fireplace with me was the type who took one look at the lovely sausage on his plate and compared it with an oil by Picasso. Now that's going a little far, don't you think?
Betty, I'm a lowbrow like yourself, but I cannot agree with you on highbrows. They are our intellectual Marines. They fill a need. They establish cultural beachheads. I think they are in their own way sincere.
Well, it's becoming increasingly difficult to tell who is serious about culture and who's not.
Well, I prefer a Tin Pan Alley jazz musician who makes no pretense to anything but being a good saxophonist to a dilettante who talks a good deal about music but knows next to nothing about it. The same goes for art or even 7-day bicycle riding. Now, I'm an expert on pretty girls like Betty. That's all I pretend to be.
Oh, Bob, so gallant. This time I'm going to send Larry away and keep you by my side. Larry, they're serving wine and cakes over there. How about bringing us a trayful while I engage in light dalliance with your best friend here?
Your wish is my command, Betty.
You've picked the right wine bearer, Betty. Larry knows his wines, and he doesn't go in for expensive French vintage wines when a little search will reveal a perfectly adequate domestic wine which is just as good. He has an educated taste and good perception when it comes to wines. You must come wine searching with us sometime. It's fun. Then we'll take you to our garret and,
Yes, Bob. What?
Oh, we'll talk about this party and the next one. And perhaps Larry will take down his guitar and strum a ballad or two. He has some of the skill of an Andres Segovia. You must ask him to play La Fille aux Chevaux de Lin for you. Debussy would love it, and so would you.
Debussy composed it, didn't he?
Yes. Here's Larry with the cakes and wine.
Here, Betty, try this wine. You know, my father was a wine merchant in Brussels before he settled down in this country. He taught me to select the right wine for the right girl. And you are the right girl.
Oh, this party is getting brighter and better with sparkling wines, gallant fellows, and dashing compliments. I'm having a wonderful time.
That is the end of the conversational lesson on social gatherings and parties. Play it again and again. Notice how gay and light and chatty the give and take is. But there is substance beneath the surface, and if you check the manual as you listen, you will learn many new words and phrases. Now, in a moment or two, we shall hear our bright companions carrying on a glowing conversation about the wine business and other businesses. Our three musketeers, using conversation for ammunition. Each properly selected word and idea hits the mark. Once more, we hear sophisticated Larry, handsome Bob, and the pleasing Betty chatting gaily.